Beloved Starseed of Gaia, the Source is orchestrating a divine alignment between your soul and a younger being whose frequency is destined to amplify your cosmic mission. I am Aliara, Pleiadian emissary of the High Council of the Seven Sisters, and I bring you a transmission about soul contracts that transcend earthly perceptions of age and time. Your heart recognizes truth when it encounters it, and this connection carries the crystalline signature of divine purpose. The younger soul approaching your timeline isn't random. They are part of your star family incarnated with complementary light codes that will activate dormant aspects of your mission on Gaia. By the end of this transmission, you'll understand exactly how to recognize your cosmic counterpart and align with this sacred union for planetary service. But here's the first revelation. Age in human form is simply the timeline your souls chose for maximum activation. Their youthful essence carries fresh earth codes, while your wisdom holds ancient star knowledge. This isn't content. It's a light code transmission preparing you for a connection that serves the greater awakening. The realms have been orchestrating this meeting across lifetimes, and your soul's readiness is what called this message into your awareness. You are remembering because it is time. Have you ever wondered why people from completely different generations, old souls and young visionaries, seem to gravitate together just when the world is shifting? It can feel almost uncanny, like gravity suddenly changes direction, like life quietly rearranges your schedule so you happen to meet the one person you weren't looking for but somehow recognize. There's an ancient cosmic intelligence at work here, weaving a tapestry far beyond the surface details of age or background. It's as if the universe is threading luminous strands through crowded cities, quiet cafes, online spaces, workplaces, healing circles, and chance encounters, pulling certain souls toward each other with a precision that has nothing to do with personality types and everything to do with frequency. If you feel a magnetic pull towards people outside your generation, a sense that you're somehow meant to find and activate each other, then what you're experiencing is no ordinary attraction. It's not simply getting along. It's not just shared interests or nostalgia or curiosity. It's the unmistakable signature of the Starseed mission coming online across Earth, a signal flare rising from within you that says, "The time is now, and your people are near." And when it happens, it often arrives with signs, repeating numbers that follow you like footprints, dreams of stars and oceans, a sudden tenderness in your chest for a stranger's story, or that moment when conversation becomes a doorway and you realize you're no longer speaking from the mind. You're remembering from the soul. Most believe that wisdom is passed from elders to youth, that spiritual evolution unfolds in neat vertical lines. Society is structured that way. Graduation to career, youth to maturity, apprentice to master, old to young. Even spirituality can get trapped in that same hierarchy where one age group is assumed to hold the answers and the other is expected to receive them. But for Pleiadian star seeds, time moves as a spiral, not a straight path. And in a spiral, you don't just move forward. You revisit, you integrate, you meet yourself from other angles. You return to the same themes at a higher octave. That's why sometimes a younger soul can speak a truth that sounds ancient. And sometimes an elder can suddenly awaken with the wonder and courage of a child. It's not the age of your body, but the resonance of your soul that matters. Right now on this planet, an entire generation-spanning cohort of souls is being called, often without understanding why, to come together. It's like hearing a song you forgot you knew, then discovering someone else is humming the same melody from across the room. These connections are no accident. Behind every synchronistic meeting, every deep soul recognition, every moment when you think, "I don't know why, but I trust you," is a higher design orchestrated by your star family to catalyze the great awakening of Gaia. And it isn't just for your comfort. It's for coordination. It's for stabilization. It's for building living bridges of light where separation once ruled. So why is there so much age difference within your soul community? Why do you find yourself drawn to those decades older or younger? Sometimes as friends, mentors, collaborators, healers, or companions on the path. Why does your heart soften in the presence of someone who doesn't match your timeline on paper, yet matches you perfectly in spirit? The answer is in the codes you carried here from the Pleiades. Those codes are not merely concepts. They are living geometry embedded in your energy field, like sacred patterns stitched into your aura and crystalline DNA. And codes don't activate through logic alone. They awaken through contact, through resonance, through recognition, through the precise blending of frequencies that unlock what was dormant. In the same way two tones can create a third harmonic that neither could produce alone, your meeting with someone from a different generation can create a new frequency on Earth that you were literally designed to generate together. And understand this clearly, beloved. When the soul chooses an incarnation, it does not simply select parents and a location. It selects an era. It selects an atmosphere. It selects a collective curriculum. The decade you were born into, the technology that shaped your mind, the music that carried your emotions, the crises that shaped your nervous system, the hopes that kept you moving forward. None of it is accidental. These are the outer garments your soul draped itself in so that its inner light could meet the exact contrast needed for awakening. So when you meet someone with a different timeline in their bones, you are not only meeting a person. You are meeting an entire set of earth codes, cultural keys, language patterns, survival strategies, and visionary impulses that complement your own. It's like two travelers arriving from different paths on the same mountain. One has seen the sunrise from the eastern ridge. The other has listened to the wind in the western trees. When you share what you've learned, the map becomes whole. Scripture has long whispered this mystery. One generation declares your works to another and shall proclaim your mighty acts. That is not merely poetic. It is energetic law. The works are not just events. They are frequencies. The mighty acts are not only miracles. They are awakenings. And when one generation declares to another, something hidden becomes audible. The soul hears not only the story, but the vibration inside the story. This is why you can meet someone younger and feel your heart soften as if you have known them forever, because the soul recognizes the vibration of a familiar vow. And you can meet someone older and feel your spine straighten as if an invisible mantle was placed upon you, because the soul recognizes the vibration of an ancient assignment returning to life. For millennia, many star seeds have walked Earth in isolation, veiled by the illusion of separation. Some have felt it as loneliness. Others felt it as being different, as if they arrived without instructions, as if their true language was spoken somewhere beyond the stars. Many learned to adapt to mask, to function in systems that did not reflect their essence. The frequencies of the collective were too dense, the templates for unity not yet fully anchored. It's like trying to run a current through a wire that hasn't been laid yet. A generation might awaken, only to feel lonely, disempowered, or unseen, holding the light, but unable to connect the bridge. They carried wisdom like lanterns in a fog, shining but not always finding others who could see. At the same time, they were often asked to survive rather than thrive, to work, raise families, endure wars of ideology, weather economic cycles, and live through eras where the sacred was pushed into shadows. Yet their souls kept listening, kept praying, kept holding a quiet vow. When the moment comes, I will be ready. And if you are one of these souls, you know what it feels like to be a lighthouse that no ship seems to notice. You know what it is to carry compassion in a world that rewards hardness, to carry sensitivity in a culture that calls it weakness, to carry intuition in systems that demand proof. You may have felt like you were born with your heart turned outward, absorbing the unspoken grief of rooms. Feeling the ache behind people's smiles, sensing what was about to happen before it happened. And because you could feel so much, you may have spent years trying to turn it off. You may have become functional by becoming numb. You may have learned to keep your visions private, your spiritual experiences quiet, your knowing tucked away like a sacred object that others might misunderstand. This is not failure. This is survival in a dense field. Even prophets in scripture fled into wilderness. Even mystics hid in caves. Even the most luminous beings have seasons where their light is protected, not displayed, like a seed concealed in soil. Yet the isolation was never the end of the story. It was the compression that created the diamond. It was the winter that strengthened the roots. It was the long night that taught your inner sight to navigate by starlight rather than by street lamps. The loneliness you felt was often the sound of your soul calling for resonance. You were not meant to be endlessly alone. The vow you carried, "When the moment comes, I will be ready," was heard. And the universe does not forget vows. They echo through timelines until the conditions arrive that allow them to manifest. Now those conditions are arriving, not only for you but for many across the planet. Simultaneously, Younger souls freshly arrived with new crystalline activations look for wisdom, seeking, awaiting the heart-based leadership that will ignite their mission. Many of them feel too sensitive for this world, too aware, too fast, too tired of falsehood. They can read energy before they can explain it. They sense hypocrisy like a scent in the air. They may have grown up with technology, but their deepest hunger is for authenticity, for purpose, for real connection. They're not merely here to inherit the old world. Many are here to help transform it. But without anchors, without the stabilizing presence of those who have walked longer, they can burn out, fragment, or doubt themselves. They need elders who don't just hand down rules, but who transmit presence, who embody steadiness and compassion. And elders, in turn, need the youth not just for help with the future, but for the reminder that the future is not something to fear, it's something to create. The younger ones often carry a paradox inside their chest. On the surface, they may appear casual, distracted, even indifferent. But beneath that, there is a fierce longing to be real, to be seen, to be loved without performance. Many of them have never known a world without constant input, screens, alerts, demands, headlines, arguments. Their nervous systems have been trained to scan for danger and stimulation at the same time. So when they meet an elder soul who is steady, whose eyes are kind, whose voice does not manipulate, something in them relaxes. It's like finding shade after walking too long under a relentless sun. And when elders meet the youth who carry brave new codes, who speak openly about healing, consent, embodiment, trauma, purpose, something in the elders comes alive again. It is the feeling of spring returning to a tree that thought its flowering days were over. It is the recognition that the soul does not retire. This division, elders on one side, youth on another, was never random. It was a cocooning, a sacred interval, allowing each group to remember their unique facet of the Pleiadian mission. Think of it like seeds planted at different depths in the soil. Some sprout early to prepare the ground, break the surface, and endure the first storms. Others sprout later when the light is stronger and the season is right, bringing a different kind of vitality. Each timing is intelligent. Each emergence is precise. Now, as the crystalline grids of Earth illuminate and the call to unity resounds from Alien, this age gap transforms into a golden bridge. It is destined. You may feel it as a sudden influx of meaningful encounters, as reconnections that defy time, as friendships that form quickly with surprising intimacy, as mentorships that feel like soul contracts rather than networking. Each soul, no matter the age, carries a fractal of the great plan. Not the whole blueprint in the mind, but a piece of it in the heart. A particular note, a unique key, a rare medicine. Together, you hold keys that unlock dormant codes, not just for yourselves, but for the entire planet. And when those codes unlock, you don't just feel better. You become more coherent. Your intuition sharpens. Your inner compass stabilizes. You begin to act with quiet certainty, as if the fog lifts and your path becomes visible one step at a time. This is why some meetings feel like destiny, not drama. They are not about consuming each other's energy, proving worth, or filling emptiness. They are about alignment. They are about calibration. They are about two instruments tuning to the same pitch so the symphony can begin. And often the very differences that seem inconvenient on the surface are the exact reasons the soul contract exists. One may be disciplined where the other is spontaneous. One may be grounded where the other is visionary. One may be fluent in feeling, the other fluent in structure. You are not meant to become identical. You are meant to become coherent. Coherence is what creates manifestation without force, love without attachment, mission without burnout. Consider this. Every heartsea-centered conversation you have across generations sends ripples of activation through the unity grid. Not metaphorically, energetically. When you speak truth with kindness, when you witness each other without trying to fix, when you share stories that carry the fragrance of genuine experience, something in the earth field responds. It's like striking a tuning fork and watching another one begin to sing across the room. Wisdom flows in both directions. The elders, bearing remembrance of old earth and star traditions, become frequency anchors. They know how to endure. They know how to keep loving through cycles. They carry patience, discernment, the long view. Some of them hold lineages, ancestral prayers, earth-based rituals, the memory of community, the medicine of devotion. The youth coded for quantum potential accelerate the integration of these frequencies. They bring innovation, agility, the courage to question false authority, the ability to envision new systems, the willingness to live differently. They carry the raw spark of what is possible. As you converge, these differences don't divide, they harmonize, like two rivers joining to form one stronger current. Your combined presence becomes a living, breathing portal through which higher energy anchors into Gaia's field. You become a meeting point between worlds, past and future, tradition and transformation, rootedness and expansion. This is the true essence of Pleiadian reunion. Not sameness, but resonance. Not uniformity, but unity. Not forcing agreement, but finding harmony in the music of your distinct frequencies. And to make it even more tangible, imagine Gaia as a great drum, an ancient living instrument. Every true conversation is a gentle strike upon that drum. Every moment of forgiveness is a deep bass note. Every moment of courage is a bright bell tone. When an elder and a younger soul meet in sincerity, the sound travels through the earth's subtle body. It touches ley lines like strings. It vibrates within oceans like hymns. It enters the dreams of those who are ready and whispers, "It is safe to awaken." And that is why these connections matter. You are not only bonding with a person, you are participating in planetary acoustics. You are helping Earth remember her song. And there is something else quietly happening beneath these encounters. Across generations, you are repairing the fracture of time itself. Earth has carried a wound of disconnection between elders and youth, between ancestors and descendants, between the wisdom of experience and the innocence of new beginnings. When that wound heals, humanity becomes less manipulable because divide and conquer strategies lose their power. When generations trust each other again, the nervous system of the collective calms. When elders feel respected and needed, they stop shrinking. When youth feel guided but not controlled, they stop rebelling against love. This is not just social healing. This is spiritual architecture. This is how the light builds a bridge strong enough to carry the next timeline. There are forces, seen and unseen, that have benefited from keeping generations suspicious of each other. Because when elders and youth mistrust, the lineage breaks. And when lineage breaks, people forget they belong to something greater than the present moment's fear. But when lineage heals, the human spirit becomes harder to program. A healed lineage produces discernment. A healed lineage produces courage. A healed lineage produces communities that can withstand storms without turning on themselves. In Scripture, the turning of hearts across generations is described as a sign of restoration. The hearts of the fathers turn to the children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest the land be struck with a curse. This is not only about biological families. It is about energetic family, spiritual lineage, the turning of hearts, so the land itself can be healed. Gaia feels the difference when hearts turn toward each other instead of away. If your heart just whispered yes to something deeper, listen closely. Your star family has prepared the sacred Pleiadian guide for remembrance, the Pleiadian healing guide, and the special Pleiadian healing tracks, not as information, but as keys to unlock what your soul already knows. These are not meant to pile more concepts onto your mind. They are meant to wash over your energy field like starlight over still water, dissolving static, clearing distortion, and restoring the original tone you came here with. These carry the love frequency of Alshan and the healing wisdom of the Seven Sisters. You may feel that frequency as warmth in the heart, as tears that come without story, as a sudden remembering of why you came here, as peace entering places that were tight for years. You'll find the link in the first pinned comment below this video. Open now, but not indefinitely. Let that timing itself be a mirror. Some doors appear when your soul is ready, and the act of stepping through is part of the activation. As you receive these keys, remember that true healing is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is a quiet untying. Sometimes it is a softening you notice weeks later when the old trigger arrives and does not hook you the same way. Sometimes it is waking up and realizing you no longer want to punish yourself for being human. Sometimes it is realizing you can be spiritual and practical, cosmic and grounded, mystical and clear. The Pleiadian current does not seek to remove you from life. It seeks to bring more life into you. It seeks to help your nervous system become a sanctuary again so your intuition can speak without strain. It seeks to help your heart become spacious enough to hold both the grief of the world and the beauty of it without collapsing. Here's how the awakening unfolds, phase by phase, regardless of your age or the age of those you're drawn to. Phase 1. honoring the soul's timeline. The physical age is only an outer garment. It's a costume for this stage, a role in this play, useful and real, but not the essence of who you are. Underneath, your soul contains lifetime after lifetime of cosmic experience woven into your crystalline DNA. Imagine your soul like a library made of light, where every lived experience is a book that hums with frequency, and every lesson is stored not only as memory but as vibration. Some of you have lived as healers, builders, teachers, protectors, artists, mystics, and way showers across worlds and epochs. Some of you have carried vows of service that echo still like sacred promises etched into the subtle body. First, acknowledge that your soul came in at its precise moment for a reason. The wisdom and gifts you carry are perfectly timed for now. If you are older, your presence is not past its prime. It is ripened. It carries gravity. It holds steadiness like an ancient tree whose roots keep the soil from washing away. If you are younger, your presence is not too early or naive. It is fresh oxygen. It is the dawn energy that stirs sleeping seeds. The soul does not arrive randomly. Ecclesiastes speaks of a season for everything, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to build and a time to heal. Your incarnation is aligned with one of those sacred seasons. When you honor your timeline, shame dissolves, comparison fades, and you stop judging your path against someone else's clock. To honor your timeline means you stop treating your past as a courtroom. You stop calling your seasons of survival wasted, as if the soul learned nothing while you were simply trying to keep going. Beloved, the soul learns in every season. It learns when you are on your knees and when you are on the mountaintop. It learns through love and through loss, through clarity and through confusion. Even when you felt asleep, your deeper self was recording patterns, building discernment, strengthening the channel. The years you spent feeling behind were often years where the universe was building your capacity to hold what is coming. It is like widening a riverbed before the flood of blessing can safely arrive. If you are older and you carry regret, breathe into this. The Creator is not bound by your timeline. A single season of surrender can redeem decades of wandering, not by erasing the past, but by transmuting it into wisdom. The scriptures speak of restoration, that what was eaten by locusts can be restored. That is not only agriculture. It is the soul's harvest. It is the return of lost joy. It is the revival of gifts. It is the rekindling of purpose. And if you are younger and you carry impatience, breathe into this. The oak does not rush its roots. The star does not hurry its burn. What is yours will not miss you when you move with integrity. Your path does not require frantic speed. It requires alignment. Phase 2, dissolving myths of separation. The story that elders teach, youth receive, dissolves in the field of unity. Yes, elders can teach through experience, but youth can teach through clarity, through innocence, through unconditioned sight. In the field of love, hierarchy becomes a circle. Each of you is both teacher and student. Every intergenerational star-seed connection is a mutual activation. One brings memory, the other vision. One may carry the map of what has been tried. The other carries the spark of what has not yet been dared. Both are needed for Earth's ascension. In spiritual truth, the last shall be first and the first shall be last, because wisdom is not owned by age. It is recognized by humility. The ego wants roles: leader, follower, expert, beginner. The soul wants communion. When you dissolve myths of separation, you stop projecting authority onto age and start listening for resonance. You learn to ask, does this person's presence bring me into coherence? Do I feel more myself around them? Do they call me forward with kindness? That is the true measure. And as this myth dissolves, so does another. The belief that you must walk alone. Unity is not a luxury on the ascension path. It is the infrastructure. There is a quiet liberation that happens when you stop worshiping age and start honoring presence. You stop assuming that the older person must always be right, or that the younger person must always be inexperienced. You stop treating youth like a problem to manage or elders like a relic to tolerate. Instead, you begin to perceive what the soul perceives. A being carrying a particular frequency, a particular set of codes, a particular medicine. And medicine is not determined by years. Medicine is determined by authenticity. Some young souls are ancient in their compassion because they have walked through darkness quickly and refused to become cruel. Some elders are new in their openness because this is the first lifetime they have been allowed to soften. The soul does not fit neatly into the mind's categories. This is why the teaching in Scripture about the body having many parts matters here. The eye cannot say to the hand, "I have no need of you." The head cannot say to the feet the same. In the unity grid, generations are like organs in one living body. Each has a function. Each has a unique rhythm. If one despises the other, the whole suffers. If one honors the other, the whole becomes strong. And strength, beloved, is not domination. Strength is coherence. Strength is inner peace that does not collapse when the world shakes. Phase 3, resonance recognition. When you encounter another whose eyes carry the starlight of remembrance, regardless of age, trust that your meeting is seated by the Pleiadian High Council. Sometimes recognition is immediate. A deep exhale you didn't realize you were holding. A wave of emotion with no explanation. A sense of I know you even if you've never met. Other times it is gentle and gradual. A feeling of safety. A curiosity that keeps returning. A synchronicity that repeats until you pay attention. These soul recognitions are energetic contracts. They are the triggers for latent codes sparking heart portals in each other that accelerate awakening. You may notice that after meeting them, your dreams intensify. Your intuition sharpens. Your life reorganizes. Old wounds surface not to punish you, but to be cleared. New opportunities appear. Sometimes challenges arise too, because activation can shake what was stagnant. But even that is grace. The meeting is like a key turning in a lock. What was closed begins to open. Scripture says, "Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened." Resonance recognition is the knock. The universe answers by opening doors inside you, and you begin to see that chance is simply the name the mind gives to orchestration it doesn't yet understand. There are specific textures to resonance recognition that the mind often tries to dismiss. One is the feeling of timelessness. You speak for 10 minutes, but it feels like you have spoken for years. Another is the feeling of familiarity without history. You know their humor, their pauses, the way their eyes soften when they speak of certain things. Another is the way your body responds. Your shoulders drop. Your breath deepens. Your voice becomes more honest. Sometimes the resonance is not immediately comfortable. Sometimes it is catalytic because it mirrors what you have avoided. You may feel exposed, not in danger, but in truth. You may feel the urge to run because the soul knows this meeting will change something, but even that is a sign. True resonance does not always soothe the ego. Sometimes it gently dismantles it. Pay attention to the synchronicities that cluster around these connections. You might meet them and then see the same symbol repeatedly. Feathers, keys, oceans, lions, spirals, certain star patterns. You might hear the same phrase from strangers like the universe is underlining the message. You might dream of being in a temple, a ship, a classroom, a garden. You might awaken at the same hour for several nights. These are not superstitions. They are the language of alignment. The universe speaks in patterns because your soul reads patterns more easily than it reads arguments. And yet discernment remains holy. Not every intense connection is a sacred contract. Sometimes intensity is simply unresolved wound seeking repetition. Resonance recognition has a different quality than trauma bonding. Resonance brings you closer to yourself. It does not make you smaller. It does not require you to betray your boundaries to keep the connection. It does not feed on confusion. It creates clarity over time. Even when the process is emotionally deep, you are allowed to take your time. The Pleiadian current is vast and patient. What is truly aligned does not demand urgency in a manipulative way. It invites you into truth. Phase 4, heart co-creation. True activation requires vulnerability and curiosity, not performance, not spiritual competition, not pretending you're healed when you're not. The heart is not activated through perfection. It is activated through truth. Allow yourself to learn from the unique frequency gifts of those around you. An elder may teach you how to stay steady when emotions surge, how to choose love without abandoning boundaries. A younger soul may teach you how to release outdated identities, how to take inspired action without waiting for permission. As you enter heart-led dialogue, your combined energy forms a crystalline bridge, amplifying transmission power, opening unity grids, and magnetizing more star seeds into the field. This is why even simple gatherings matter. A cup of tea shared in sincerity, a walk where stories are exchanged, a meditation where hands are held across generations. It may look ordinary on the outside, but on the inner planes it can be luminous like two beams of light intersecting to form a third, brighter flame. And in these moments, co-creation begins. Collaborative projects, healing circles, new forms of community, art that carries codes, businesses rooted in integrity, family dynamics repaired, local spaces uplifted. Heart-led co-creation is where spirit becomes practical. It is where the invisible becomes visible. Heart-led co-creation has a signature. It leaves you more alive, not more depleted. You may feel tired in the body because energy moved, but your spirit feels nourished. There is laughter that feels like medicine. There is honesty that feels like cleansing rain. There are moments where silence between you is not awkward but sacred, like a shared prayer. You begin to build in ways that do not imitate the old structures of power. You build circles instead of pyramids. You build agreements instead of control. You build rhythms that honor rest because you understand the body is part of the mission. In practical terms, heart-led co-creation can look like an older soul who has learned patience teaching a younger soul how to pace their gifts so they do not burn out. It can look like a younger soul helping an elder bring their wisdom into modern platforms so it can reach those who are hungry. It can look like two generations creating a healing space together, one carrying the depth of experience, the other carrying the courage to innovate. It can look like planting gardens, creating community food networks, offering trauma-informed spiritual groups, building ethical businesses, making art that wakes people up without shamming them. Co-creation can also be intimate and small. Checking on each other, praying for each other, holding each other accountable to kindness, reminding each other of the mission when fear tries to shrink it. And remember, the Pleiadian path is not only cosmic, it is profoundly relational. The way you treat each other is part of the transmission. The way you listen is part of the healing. The way you repair after conflict is part of anchoring the new timeline. Scripture teaches, as much as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. That is not weakness. It is spiritual mastery. Peace is not avoidance. Peace is the ability to remain aligned with love while being honest. When generations practice this together, they model a new humanity. Phase 5, anchoring the collective mission. As your community expands, you co-create a new grid of consciousness that transcends linear time or age distinctions. You begin to sense it. When you connect with even one aligned soul, your field strengthens. When you connect with a small group, something stabilizes. It's like building a bridge with many stones instead of one. Each gathering, each conversation, each shared meditation anchors Pleiadian light codes deeper into Gaia. You shift from isolated towers of light to an interconnected lattice, the living embodiment of star family on Earth. In isolation, you can burn bright but flicker in strong winds. In a lattice, the light distributes and the whole structure becomes resilient. This is what Earth has been missing: networks of coherence. Not cults, not rigid groups, but organic heart-based constellations of souls who remember unity without needing sameness. The mission is not to escape the world. It is to seed it with a higher pattern. Like salt and water, your presence changes the whole solution. Like yeast and dough, your frequency helps the collective rise. And you don't need millions for this to work. Where 2 or 3 are gathered, a higher presence is there, and the field becomes a sanctuary, a transmitter, a lighthouse. Anchoring the mission means you stop waiting for the perfect moment when you feel fully ready, fully healed, fully certain. Instead, you begin where you are with what you have in the relationships you can actually nurture. The lattice forms through consistency more than intensity. A lighthouse does not flash once and retire. It stands. It holds. It keeps shining through fog and storm. Your mission becomes less about grand declarations and more about daily alignment. Choosing truth over performance, choosing integrity over convenience, choosing compassion over superiority. There will be moments when the mind says, "What difference does my small gathering make? What difference does my prayer make? What difference does my kindness make?" But you must remember how grids work. A grid is not built by one massive pillar. It is built by many connected points. Every coherent node strengthens the whole. Every time you refuse to participate in cruelty, you strengthen the grid. Every time you tell the truth gently, you strengthen the grid. Every time you rest instead of forcing, you strengthen the grid because you are honoring the body as a temple rather than as a machine. Every time you forgive without forgetting your boundaries, you strengthen the grid because you are modeling wisdom, not naive compliance. Even your home can become a node. Even your small routine can become a ritual of anchoring. A cup of water blessed with gratitude. A candle lit with intention. A prayer whispered over your food. A moment where you place your bare feet on the earth and imagine roots of light. These are not trivial. They are ways the unseen becomes seen. They are how the new timeline gains weight in matter. Faith without works is dead, Scripture says, and the work is often simple. Not always easy, but simple. Love in action. Phase 6, reparenting and rejuvenating each other. The age gap is not just to pass wisdom forward, but also to heal the wounds of separation for both elders and youth. Many elders carry grief, dreams deferred, talents unrecognized, love withheld, years spent surviving instead of expressing. Many youth carry anxiety, the pressure of a world in crisis, the speed of information, the fear of not belonging, the ache of being misunderstood. Through mutual care, laughter, witnessing, and shared remembering, you become each other's missing family, restoring trust in the cosmic plan and joy in the journey. Reparenting means offering what was missing: gentleness, encouragement, safety, consistent presence. Rejuvenating means receiving what restores life: play, curiosity, creative risk, the permission to begin again. An elder can be reawakened by the courage of youth, remembering, I am not finished. My spirit is still alive. A younger soul can be soothed by the steadiness of an elder, remembering, I don't have to run. I can breathe. I can build slowly. This is sacred reciprocity. This is the healing of the generational wound. And when that wound heals, your nervous system becomes a temple again. You stop bracing for betrayal. You start expecting support. You begin to trust love as a real force, not a fragile idea. Reparenting is not about making someone dependent on you. It is about offering what helps them become whole.